Hello, this is Matt from LowSpec Action Squad here. Just wanted to do a little brief overview of what you can expect from me over the next month or so. I'm taking part in GPU June, and, well, unfortunately it seems I've got my work cut out for me, so I think I'm going to split this into 4 videos. You're watching the first one. You won't find any graphics card testing or any showcases here. Not in this particular video. This is just sort of an explanation of what I plan on doing. And to be honest, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're kind of discovering it as we go. I haven't planned anything. I discovered GPU June way too late in the process, and didn't give myself any time to plan. So I hastily dug out a good portion of my 96 through 2006 graphics card collection. This is probably a good third of all the cards that I own, so that's a lot of cards. Unfortunately, a lot of the cards that I have are already in systems that are extremely difficult to disassemble, and I don't intend to do so. So my testing will not necessarily all be identical. Other systems, although they are easy to disassemble, I don't want to, because I spent a very, very large amount of time perfecting them, and it's just not something I want to do. I don't want to take them apart. So, the other 3 videos, I'm thinking I'm going to do one on PCI Express cards, one on PCI cards, and one on my Agp cards. Now, unfortunately, I have several different generations of Agp, not all of which are compatible with each other, and what I mean by that is I can't use... Here's a good example. I can't use these cards in my intended test system, which is this IBM NetVista. They're just not the right type. And I can't use these Agp cards in that system, which is, well, you kind of need you need several different systems if you're going to adequately test them all. So, although I do have some systems that are compatible universally, I don't feel like digging those out of my closet. So, I don't know, I might just not do those ones. This one's a Rage XL, this is a Matrox. I think it's a Millennium or a G200. Looks like a G200. Not terribly exciting other than the expandable memory, which I kind of wish you could see these days, but, you know, probably not possible with GDDR6 and all that jazz. I've got 2 of these. I will only be testing one of them because, unfortunately, I sold the only motherboard I had where you could do quad SLI. These are 7950 GX2 cards. They're technically identical, just from... Oh no, they are both from EVGA. Huh, I guess they just have different cooler designs. Looks like they might be different board revisions too. Anyway, this is a X850 XT Platinum Edition, I believe. 1650 Pro. This is a... Actually, I don't remember what this is. I don't remember. I think it was like a X300 or something awful. No, this was the X300. I don't remember what this was. I don't even know if it works. This one, Quadro Fx 550. You get the point. There's a lot of different cards here. This is a Quadro Fx 3400. If I recall correctly, it's the same graphics core as you'll find in a GeForce 6800 GT. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I actually have a 6800 GT right there. Unfortunately, it is broken. It will boot. You'll get into Windows. You can do whatever you want with it, but you'll have artifacting all over the screen. Even just sitting on the desktop, even in BIOS, you'll have artifacts. So I'd really rather not plug that one in. It's maybe save attempt for another day. This is a 6600 GT. This one I actually don't think it works. Never tried it, but it was suspiciously cheap, so, you know. I believe this is a GeForce 3 Ti 500 that I added a fan to because I did not trust that cooler. Of course, can't forget this is I think it's a Radeon 7000, the all-in-wonder version. Could be wrong on that. Probably wrong on that. This is a Quadro Fx 500, which is basically a GeForce FX 5200. God, awful card there. Whole bunch of other selections. Several of these are actually the same card. These two are both, I think they're MX 440s, GeForce 4 MX 440s. I think this is also, probably. Yep. Got a bunch of those. I did not bring them all out onto this table. I have way too many of those. I think these also might be, these might be GeForce 2s. Yeah, it looks like a GeForce 2, 32 megs. That sounds about right. Of course, they don't always make it easy. Here's another GeForce 2. Riva TNT2. Do I have another? I think I... Yep. I'm kind of interested to see the different performance between these two cards. They're both Agp, neither of which have a cooler, but I want to see if the low-profile version has any performance penalties or, you know, benefits. I have this Antique, which I do intend to test if it works. Pretty sure this one does, but this is one of the earliest cards that I have in this, you know, qualifying section. S3 Verge, it's the, oh boy, they did some really stupid numbering on these, S3 Verge 332. I don't know, it says 96 there, it says 97 there, so this qualifies, and if I recall correctly, it has one single pixel pipeline and one vertex shader. Not that those specs are easy to come by. I must have searched all day trying to figure the numbers out on that thing. Still can't find any drivers for it. I'm sure they're out there. Honestly, I didn't look very long for those because I do not like this card. I had one when I was a kid, and I think one of my friends came over who was far more versed in PC stuff than me. He actually took the card out, and my onboard graphics performed better. So, I have a long-standing hatred for that card. This is my favorite card of all, because it's PCI, it fits in everything. I have a low-profile and high-profile version of it, and I use these actually with servers. A lot of times they don't have onboard graphics, and they're just compatible with everything. I have never ever found a system that would not boot with with one of those two in there. So anyway, here's a couple of the different systems I'll be using. This is a Pentium 3 1.2 gigahertz. I believe I upgraded this to. This is the Shuttle X SV24. This is the second ever shuttle system they created, and it does have an FX 5500 PCI, which, if I recall, is basically no different than a regular FX 5200, maybe with a little extra performance, but that remains to be seen. I actually have a lot of trouble with this machine. It never ever wants to work right. This one's an Athlon XP with a GeForce 6600 by Eagle, I believe was the graphics card company for that. And I added an extra little 40mm fan there with some zip ties from a bread container. This is another Athlon XP. These two, I believe, are both Pentium 4s. This is socket PGA 478, I believe, and this one's LGA 775. Both of these are Agp. This one I think has a 7600 in it, and this one has a 6200. This one I really wanted this one to be good, but it only has PCI slots. This one has a single PCI slot. It's real terrible. It comes up with like a little riser and goes flat across the back. This also only has PCI. I'm not even sure if I'll use this thing, but I thought it was kind of funny, so I put it up here. And this system, this is my pride and joy. It's a Pentium 3 966. It has 512 megabytes of RAM, a 4 gigabyte SSD, you know, from the era almost, a WinFast A320. Could be wrong on that. It says it on the card somewhere. It's a GeForce FX 5700 Ultra with 256 megabytes of VRAM. I have also added a SATA card, which it works with XP. Supposedly it works with 98, but I don't really trust it, so what I'm going to end up doing is ditching that card altogether, and gonna get rid of that native SATA and just use a SATA to IDE converter. Got a USB card that is compatible with Windows 98, and what I think I'm gonna do is I'll get rid of that FireWire card because I have never ever used it, and I'll ditch that Sound Blaster Live, and I'll swap it for an Audigy 2 with the extra card that goes underneath it. Actually, I think that has trouble with Windows 98. Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Might even use onboard graphics. Doesn't really matter too much. I just don't want to disassemble this thing too much. Maybe I'll just use it as is. Anyway, that's a brief overview. As for this NetVista over here, I actually just got finished recapping this motherboard. I had to replace almost every single capacitor on this entire board. The only ones I did not replace are these, no, I replaced those. These ones, the little blue ones by the PCI slots. I'm not aiming the camera in the right direction. This is an Audigy 2? Is it? I think so. Can't read that from here. This is an early Pentium 4 system for the socket 478. The earliest ones are socket 423, but this one came out in, I believe, the year 2000. It's got the 1.6 gigahertz P4. Nothing special, but I do like this system. And boy, I had a hell of a time getting this thing to, it's got it's real picky for what RAM I put in there. I think I've got two 128 megabyte sticks of SD RAM. This doesn't use DDR, it's pre-DDR. I did not recap the power supply, I probably should have, but blew it out with some compressed air, seemed alright. And beyond that, all I've done is test this system. It's got Windows 2000 on the hard drive. I am ditching that. I have nothing but terrible memories of Windows 2000. Mostly because I couldn't run any of the games I had at the time. But, you know, these are things we do. I do have several other cards that I might test. I have an Agp Voodoo Banshee. Terrible card. Yeah, you get the Glide API, but it just doesn't really have the oomph to really drive any games that can take advantage of it. Not newer games, you know. And by newer, I'm talking 98 and onwards. Gotta get that Unreal in there. Anywho, at this point, I don't have too much more to say, other than I'm not looking forward to the task of making videos on these cards, which is why I'm, like I said, lumping them together in PCI Express, PCI, and Agp. There's already been a few videos released with the tag GPU June in them, and most of them are pretty damn good. I can't remember off the top of my head. I really should have written this down, but someone did a little dive into the GeForce 6 series. Did a really good job. There was someone who talked about, what was it, the GeForce 4? And someone made a build video using 2 of these actually. Really, really cool. Liked that one. But yeah, that's... Boy, I hate rambling. Maybe it's just the fact that it's really late. I also don't know how to end a video. So, goodbye.